Shavua Tov, everyone. Welcome to TillesTells Stories for Saturday night. The title of this week's video is The Missing Rabbi. I adapted it from the rendition on l'chaim.org. The close followers of Rabbi Dovber, the Maggid of Mezritch, successor to the Baal Shem Tov as the leader of the Hasidic movement, they were waiting their leader's entrance into the synagogue for the lighting of the menorah on the first night of Chanukah. For the past few years, the seemingly unsophisticated but clearly inspired Reb Zusha, that is Rabbi Meshulam Zusul of Anapoli, one of the Maggid's favorite disciples, had been honored with lighting the shamash candle, the attendant candle, so to speak, the servant candle. He would then hand it to the Maggid, who lit from it the candles on his menorah. But Reb Zusha was nowhere to be seen. The Chassidim wondered if his absence was the reason the Maggid had not yet lit the menorah. Minutes, then hours ticked by as the Chassidim waited for the Rebbe to emerge. Finally, at about midnight, the Maggid emerged from his room and walked towards the menorah. As if to himself, the Maggid said quietly, "Zusha will not be with us tonight. We'll light the menorah now." The Maggid honored another of his Chassidim with the privilege of kindling the shamash. The blessing was chanted and the single solitary wick was lit. Then all of the holy assemblage joined together in singing the traditional Chanukah hymns. The next morning, just as the Maggid and his Chassidim were finishing their prayers, Reb Zusha walked in. As he was clearly exhausted from the traveling, he shuffled over to his customary place and dropped down on the bench. His friends came over and gave him a hearty welcome. One of them reported, "The Rebbe waited a long time for you last night. What happened?" "After we light the Hanukkah menorah tonight," promised Reb Zusha, "and with the Rebbe's permission, I will tell you the whole story." All of his Chassidim gathered around the Maggid's menorah on the second night of Hanukkah. After the Maggid lit the menorah, they eagerly listened to Zusha's story. They also hoped that the report of Reb Zusha would explain the mysterious delay of the lighting the night before. "As you all know, immediately after the high holidays," he began, "it is my custom to travel through the small villages and hamlets near Mezritch. I go from town to town, speaking with the adults and teaching the children about the wonders of our heritage. I also speak to them about how God loves each and every single Jew, and that they are all important to Him. I tell them about our Rebbe, and I explain some of the Rebbe's teachings. Each year, I plan my schedule so that I can return to Mezritch in time for Chanukah. Yesterday, when I was on my way back to Mezritch, a terrible snowstorm started. I pushed on through the storm, although many times I felt I could not continue. Knowing that I would soon be back in Mezritch near the Rebbe was what kept me going. Unfortunately for my travel plans, the storm worsened. I soon realized that I would have to stop and rest a bit before continuing, if I wanted to make it to Mezritch at all. And so, I stopped at the home of Yankel in a village not too far from Mezritch. By this time, it was already quite late in the afternoon. I pounded and pounded on the door until finally someone called out, "Who is it?" "It is I, Zusha," I said loudly. Yankel's wife opened the door. She looked absolutely terrified, and as she bid me inside, I noticed that the children too looked frightened. The poor woman burst out, "Yankel left the house early this morning to gather firewood. He promised he would come back early, for even then he saw we were in for a terrible storm. It's late already, and still he has not returned," she wailed. For a split second I hesitated. If I went into the forest now, who knew if I would come out alive? But I realized I had no choice. I put on my coat and scarf and once again set out towards the forest. I penetrated past a few rows of trees when I saw the upright form of a man covered with snow. Only his face was visible in the white blur. I saw right away that it was Yaakov, and I thought for sure that he had frozen to death. But when I came very close, I noticed to my surprise that he was still breathing. I brushed him off and tried to warm him up. Somehow I managed to drag and carry my friend Yankel back to his house. His wife and children greeted us with cries of joy. With my last ounce of strength, I deposited Yaakov on the bench near the stove and fell to the floor myself. Miraculously, Yaakov's wife was able to thaw him out. She brought over a bottle of strong, hard liquor, which both he and I drank eagerly to warm our insides. At about midnight, we felt sufficiently strong enough to stand up and light the Hanukkah menorah. As we said the prayer, who made miracles for our ancestors in those days at this time, we knew without a doubt that God had made a miracle for us too. As soon as the sun rose in the morning, I set out for Mezritch and arrived when you saw me this morning, Zusha finished. The Maggid looked intently into Zusha's face. Know, Zusha, that in heaven they waited, as it were, to light the divine Chanukah menorah, until you lit the menorah together with Yankel. In the merit of saving a Jewish soul from death, the heavens awaited you.